The Toronto Maple Leafs make emergency changes heading into a must-win against the Boston Bruins in Game 5. We have an update on Auston Matthews' health heading into the game, and we have the projected starter. We'll get into this later on this episode. Before I start, I just want to say to thousands of you watching that aren't subscribed, if you're enjoying this daily NHL content and you never want to miss another episode, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. We'll be here all season long, giving you updates from all around the league. But with that, we'll hop straight into the first topic today, which is Leafs make line changes. Now, obviously, we've seen some reports yesterday on what the Leafs lines might look like, but with the practice lines, we do see some changes. We see Mitch Marner sliding up to the top line next to Max Domi and Tyler Bertuzzi. We see TJ Brodie skating with the scratches and Timothy Liljegren getting back in. We also see Connor Dewar getting on to that fourth line again with Nick Robertson sliding back up to the third line. I did want to say, just touching on Dewar first, I'd never understood why this fourth line got broken up. The fourth line looked electric, energized, they looked outstanding. I'm not saying Nick Robertson didn't fit here, but Connor Dewar was a major part of this and the penalty kill, and I can't really wrap my head on why he was ever taken off this. But we'll get straight into the second topic today, which I'm sure a lot of people want to hear about, is Woll gets the start. Now, obviously, we've seen reports coming out. We've seen people talk about it. But Mark Masters did say and confirm Joesph Woll is not on the ice for the Leafs skate, which suggests he's the starter tonight. Now, obviously, we've seen Joesph Woll start in for Samsonov going into the third period. He looked great. He held his own. And the biggest thing with Joesph Woll that a lot of people kind of forget about or don't forget about is the fact that he was the first goaltender in 8 years to help this team advance past the first round. When they caught lightning in the bottle, they bet the Tampa Bay Lightning, ultimately losing to, of course, the Florida Panthers in the second round. But this guy was the reason why, and he was a huge part of the reason why the Leafs advanced into the second round. Yes, Samsonov has been playing good. Yes, he had his ups and his downs, but Joesph Woll is the goalie of the future. Joesph Woll is the reason why the Leafs, like I said, helped advance to the second round. He was the one they needed in net, and it still kind of baffles me that we are just getting him as the full-time starter going into Game 5. Now, obviously, Ryan Reaves spoke a lot today, but one of the quotes he had today on Joesph Woll I wanted to point out. For a young guy, he's pretty steady. I'm excited to see him play. I think he's excited to get in there and do his thing. We're a confident bunch when he's in the net. Now, I'm not going to say this is shade thrown at Samsonov saying, hey, we're confident with him in the net. I'm not going to say that, yes, Reaves would rather him in the net, because that's not the case. The Leafs want a steady goaltender in the net. And after last game, it seems like Woll is this guy. Woll came in, like I said, he held his own. He looked great in the third period. This is a must-win game, and the Leafs had to make changes going into it to do anything they can to try to make this miracle 3-1 comeback, which seems impossible, but the Bruins did lose a 3-1 series lead just last season. It would be historic. It'd be storyline if the Leafs can pull this off after, the Bruins doing it to them just a few seasons ago. But Woll gets the nod, and I think this is the right choice. What's your guys' thoughts on Joesph Woll getting the start? Do you think this is the best thing to do? Would you rather Samsonov get another chance in Game 5 since it's do or die and just let him ride out his career, or his next part of his career with the Toronto Maple Leafs? But we'll get into the third topic today, which is Auston Matthews possibly out. Now, this is what a lot of Leafs fans fear. This is what a lot of people don't want to hear. But Mark Masters said Auston Matthews was on the ice for a few minutes this morning at TD Garden, but departs before Leafs' optional skate begins. I do want to say, first off, yes, obviously having him on the ice at some point is a good sign. We didn't see Matthews at all in the third period as he was pulled by team doctors for his illness. This is not what fans want to hear. This is a guy that scored 69 goals. Nice, by the way. But he is the Leafs' top goal scorer. He is their top line center. He is the guy on this team. This is the franchise player, and not having him in this crucial game is going to kill the Leafs, in my opinion. Now, you do look at Sheldon Keefe. He did speak out on Auston Matthews and said he's working through things to try to make himself available to play. No determination at this time. Who makes the call? It's always the doctor's call. Now, this is a good thing and a bad thing. He's not shutting Matthews down for this game. He's not saying, hey, we have him, we don't have him. He's saying there is a determination. But not having a clear-cut sign, not saying, hey, it's looking like a good thing, is not what fans want to hear. We also see John Tavares speak on this as well and say, it's not ideal to be without Auston. You're talking about one of the best players in the world, but there's a tremendous depth talent, character on this team. It's a great opportunity for all of us to step up, raise our game, which is already needed and necessary. While I do agree with the whole fact of, yes, John Tavares wants to get the best out of this Leafs team, he wants this team to just kind of shine, step up their game, find the unsung hero within this lineup. You can't do this without your captain, without your top goal scorer, your top player, your top offensive talent. Yes, Matthews has been struggling, but this guy is dealing with an illness that's keeping him out of periods, keeping him out of practice. He's dealing with a lot here. And seeing just John Tavares say they need to step their game up, they have the character, they have just like talent, depth, they have a great opportunity. Seeing Sheldon Keefe say that it's no determination at this time, it's not making me feel great about this. It's making me kind of just worry on the sense of, what are the Leafs doing? Is Auston Matthews out? Are we really going to see Max Domi as the top line center heading into a must-win Game 5? I wanted to touch on the lines real fast. I do like that deal of Marner, Domi, and Bertuzzi. This line has looked good with Matthews, but I think with Marner, they could really just get more speed to this. Not saying Matthews is slow. They could get more, just an oomph to this line. Mitch needs to step his game up. This is a big player. Feeding off guys like Domi and Bertuzzi is going to be huge. Obviously, the second line we see stay intact. The third line, we do see Robertson just get reunited with Holmberg and Yarncroke. And then we do see Dewar, like I said, which is the perfect fit on this fourth line. And I still don't know why he was scratched. We see the defense, Riley, Lyubushkin, Benoit, McCabe, Edmondson, and Liljegren. I really love Liljegren back on the spot. Yes, Brody had a rough Game 4. Yes, he was just kind of caught in the corner on JV's goal against the Leafs to give the Bruins the lead. But ultimately, having Liljegren in, having with Edmondson, who I think might be one of our best defensemen this year, is going to be a huge change for this Leafs team. It's really going to get scary going into this game. Are you guys bought in? I know Morgan Riley had a comment saying, we know the parts of our game that have to improve and the challenge we're facing, but we got to believe in one another. You're fighting for a reason, so there's definitely more of a line, and there's no expectations of work ethic and execution go up. So the big thing with this is the Leafs team know what they're being held to. They know this has to happen. They know changes are going to happen this season if they end up losing in Game 5 to Boston. This is a huge game, not only for Leafs fans, but for the Leafs. The next 3 games could determine the entire future of this team that we know it. And the last part I wanted to add in on this was the fact that starting goalie for the Bruins tonight, Jeremy Swayman, was almost a Toronto Maple Leaf. He did an interview a few years ago with the Dropping the Gloves, and he said, I was looking for Toronto to draft me because I talked to them a ton during the year. Pick 110, they drafted another goalie. With the pick 111, the Bruins took Jeremy Swayman. Just wanted to put this in there because it's very Leaf-like for the starting goalie of the opposing team that might beat them in Game 5 was on the board. They had calls with them. It looked like they were going to draft him. They did take CHL Goalie of the Year, Ian Scott. He dealt with a lot of injuries. This guy looked outstanding, and it's terrible that he never got to make it to the NHL due to the injuries that derailed his career. But it's just super Leaf-like to ultimately almost lose the first round due to the goalie that they never drafted. But what's your guys' thoughts on all this? What's your thoughts on Matthews not playing? If he doesn't, what's your thoughts on if he plays? Where would you put him in this lineup? What other changes would you make to this lineup? Are you happy Woll's in? What's your thoughts on all these comments the players make? Talking about comments, though, we'll get into everyone's favorite topic, which is comment of the day. And the comment of the day today comes from Sharpshooter, and they say they need to get their stuff together, score on the power play, hopefully can build confidence. I completely agree with this. The power play doesn't look what it looked like during the season. We've seen around Christmas time, this power play was firing at 50%. We've seen them kind of lose their groove. They're not moving at the same pace of each other. It almost feels robotic, and it's really just ultimately hurting this team more than anything. It seems like sometimes they play better 5-on-5 than they do with extra man, and they especially play better 4-on-4. What's your guys' thoughts on all this? Like I said, leave a comment down below on everything I just kind of talked about. You could be featured on the next episode of Canucks Digest, Hat Trick HQ, and you could be on the comments today. But with that, take care and